Good morning, everybody. Welcome those of you that are new to the channel. If you're hanging out at the channel and you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps the channel grow if you find these videos helpful. More subscribers means this reaches more people and it's free. And if you thought any video is exceptionally helpful, it would be very appreciated if you threw a $5 or a $10 via the super thanks button or the links in the about section of the channel if you prefer that method. So, something that was on my mind today, a couple hours ago, as I was having my morning tea, is how the narcissist defends the golden child and the golden child's actions no matter what. No matter what the golden child does, no matter what the situation is, the narcissist will always defend the golden child. You know, they can do no wrong. And if you're the black sheep, no matter what you're doing, even if you're doing everything that needs to be done, then it's, quote, not fast enough. Or even if there's, simple logistics in your way, no explanation that you give, no matter how sound, verifiable, proof-driven, evidence-based it is, doesn't matter. Because as you already know, then to the narcissist, truth is whatever they think. And to them, not only is truth whatever they think, but they can retcon what that truth is to best fit their narrative. Because one of the biggest things about narcissists is, and I've discussed it, they can never accept that they're wrong. They always think they're right no matter what. You know, they get very angry when pressed on something, especially if you can, undeniably prove them false. Then they'll try to warp reality and bend fact and bend truth to fit their narrative. Now, with the golden child being, defended at all times, I'm going to give some personal examples to explain this important point. So, for example, a narcissist is very controlling to both, black sheeps and to the golden child. But the major reason why a narcissist will defend the golden child no matter what is because the golden child is the embodiment of their ideology. Remember, a narcissist doesn't live in reality. And a golden child, because they receive all the praise of a narcissist, the narcissist gives them what they want and tells them how great they are, puts them on a pedestal. So they're going to fall in line in lockstep behind the narcissist ideology, which, could be many things. It's false, first and foremost, but it could be false for different reasons. It could be delusional. It could be made up. It could be, decades out of touch. But the narcissist will always stand by that golden child because that golden child is doing what they're told. And if they're doing what they're told and that information is coming from the narcissist, then it is by definition right. So they have to defend that golden child and their actions no matter what the outcome is, because if they don't, then that's further evidence that disproves their ideology that they believe is infallible. That's more evidence that it's like, well, look how that worked out, kind of thing. And my brother is the perfect example of this. So, as I've mentioned, he's 33 going on 18, convicted drug dealer, sits on his ass and smokes pot all day. But, he won academic awards in middle school, which are far more prestigious than anything you can get in college. My college shit, and I'm not saying they mean much. I'm just saying they mean more than middle school awards. I think we can all agree on that. Mine actually came with money, but all those years ago. Anyway, he's the golden child, not just of my mom, who's dead now, but of the whole family. He's the embodiment of their ideology that I call Chestertology, and I'm not going to get deep into it, but it's essentially that this county is the whole world. The world has not changed since the 1980s. The old boys club, good old boys club, nepotism, cronyism thing is how it's supposed to be. Like, that's right and should be defended to the teeth. Anyone who dares questions that is wrong. It's wrong to question that. If your uncle has a job, it doesn't matter if you're not qualified or even have disqualifying factors like criminal record or DUI, stuff like that. It's like, no, that's you're supposed to be there. It's like a lordship. It's hereditary kind of thing. So my brother, listened to these out of touch boomers that live in their own world, have never lived anywhere else in the world, and don't know anything else about the world outside of this area his whole life. And, it hasn't worked out well, because he tries to totally slide on the, like, don't you know who I am? I'm in the club kind of thing. And being a convicted felon and unable to pass a drug test and lazy and doesn't bathe, that doesn't work too well. But he's still praised. He's, he's trying. He's trying to get a job. There's no resume. There's been no proof of any jobs he's applied for. Oh, well, you apply online. It's like, yeah, but every job website I've ever used is, they keep a record of the jobs you apply for. Yeah. When I was looking for work a few years ago, um, it must be your resume. Well, I had it rated by Zeddy and I think another company, and it came back like a 93 or, some high mark. Like, well, you're just not applying to enough jobs. I'm like, here's 40, here's a record of it. Well, you just don't know the right people. Well, that's not supposed to be a factor. Cronyism is not an attribute to get hired. Like, oh, it doesn't matter how qualified you are, or what your, job history or criminal records. You just got to know the right people. It's like, isn't that the way it's not supposed to be? So, in this struggle to get this house ready to sell, because my mother died suddenly, so nothing was done. It's not like, we had been preparing for this. A lot of stuff to get rid of. It was wintertime in the holidays, so, I had to wait on paperwork to have the authority to do things. Winter's not really when you get a dumpster, because this is Pennsylvania, and it's dark, and it's cold, and it snows here a lot. So, didn't do that yet because, well, it's still 40 degrees outside. Daylight savings time hit, but we're technically still in winter. It's not spring, not yet. But, I've been taking stuff, anything I can sell, and sell, because, well, it's one less thing I have to throw away. And it's not like I'm holding out for what I think I should get. It's just, oh, you'll buy this. I will take the money you are offering because the money you are offering is better than throwing it away. Well, my narcissistic aunt, who thinks she's in charge, is like, well, you just gotta go. Just throw it out. Just throw thousands of dollars of stuff out that you could easily sell, because it's just, you gotta go, because the prince, the golden child, he'll just sit in his room, until the house is sold and won't do anything. And I used their logic against them. Here's, a classic example of how they'll bend truth. Well, I said, well, wait, so I'm wasting all this time selling stuff and getting money for it. I'm like, well then, why can't he do it? He sits in his room and watches basketball. Well, that stuff's not that important. It's not that much money. I'm like, but if there's all this to do and I have more important things to do that he can't do, why can't he do this and at least get some money for this stuff and thus get rid of it at the same time? I said, why would so I'm supposed to throw away, thousands of dollars of cash money that I can easily get just by finding the right place, driving it, taking the stuff, so he can sit on his ass and watch basketball? No answer to that. None. Then when you catch them, when you use logic like that, like ask them questions that they can't answer for, then they just get mad because they don't have an answer. Because it's not about them, explaining to you like how you're factually wrong, or explaining to you that, you're missing a piece of information, or why this makes sense. No, it's just about you falling in line and you doing what you're told, because again, their self-given sense of authority and their entitlement to order people around. That, because they get off on that. All narcissists do. Because, give my example a little more. My brother and I have like old, like, year sets of sports cards from when we were kids in the 90s. I know they're worth something. I know they're worth more than throwing away. Ooh, reflux. He was supposed to find a place to sell them for 2 months, but he Oz hasn't gets around to it. That was his exact word and phrasing of it. So my aunt's like, oh, I'll do it. I'll look at it. I'm like, so wait, if it's not important to do that, I said, you still haven't answered my question. If there's all this to do and it's got to be going faster, why is it still okay for him to literally be sitting on his ass watching basketball? He doesn't work. I mean, being an executor, I'll tell you, it's pain, and it's like a part-time job in itself. And I have, an actual, job that I go to. I'm not working 40 hours a week, but I have work that I have to do. I'm not here hanging out all day like he is, and I'm building a modeling career, and that takes up time too. And I have like all the legal paperwork for all this to do, and apparently I have to go through everything and sell him, and then he just gives me his ma shares of the monies. Yeah. But so all this isn't being done fast enough, but he's not doing anything, and that's perfectly okay. Why? Because he's the golden child. Because no matter what the golden child's doing, they're entitled to do it, and they're entitled to receive reward because they're the golden child. They're the ones who listen to the narcissist. They're the ones who do what they're told. And no matter what the outcome of the golden child listening to the narcissist's advice is, the narcissist is always going to defend that golden child, because if they criticize the golden child and their outcome, then that disproves the narcissist and their I just know logic, where it's like, well, how do you do this? Well, no, this is how you do it. Well, what's that based on? I just know. It's like, oh yes, that's, I'm an expert because I think it works like this, therefore it does. Simple things, like simple logistical things they can't understand. Like, oh, well, there's all this stuff you got to throw out. How come it's not gone yet? Because the trash company only takes X amount of stuff each week. Like the amount, the amount a trash company takes is set. It's, the amount you have to get rid of does not affect the week to week amount that they will take. They don't seem to get that concept. It's sort of like, put it this way. Say you have a pile of mulch. You have a yard of mulch to move. You're mulching your flower beds. If you have a whole yard to move, still, the amount you can fit in your wheelbarrow doesn't change. Your wheelbarrow can't hold more just because there's so much more to move. The wheelbarrow can only hold so much. Its capacity doesn't change whether you have, 2 wheelbarrows full to move or 20. Simple, right? Makes sense. Not to them, not to the narcissist. So be aware of that. If you are a black sheep, do not try to appease the narcissist, because even if you're doing, everything you need to be doing, then you're not doing it fast enough, or you're not doing it their way. See, with a narcissist, it's even if you're doing what they want you to do, if you're not doing it the exact way that they want it done, they'll still criticize that. While the golden child just kicks back and smokes weed and watches basketball because they're the golden child, and and that's okay because they denote, who's a slave and who's a prince, apparently. Be aware of that. Something I wanted to get out before I go run and do my errands for the day. So I hope that was helpful and informative. Trust your intuition if somebody is using narcissistic logic against you. If somebody's trying to tell you how to do something and they can't explain why the way they're trying to tell you to do it makes sense, if they can't back it up, it's probably narcissistic control and they want you to just fall in line. And remember, there is integrity in standing up to a narcissist, because the more a narcissist is told no, the less power they have over time.